Welcome into the Dan Presel Show here on the SHC Athletics YouTube channel. Charlie Harrison alongside Coach Dan Presel. And Coach, you brought in a special guest for us today.
Yeah, I got Kellen Hunter here, the reigning SIAC Freshman of the Year, sophomore from Mobile, Alabama, Faith Academy product.
Now, Kellen, I do want to go ahead and ask, A, how are you doing today? And B, how much does it mean to you to get to come and play at the hometown school?
It feels I'm great. Thank you for asking. It feels great. Um, it was a journey, and it was really the perfect storm. And I'm glad to have Ben as my coach. So yeah, it's great.
You guys have such great chemistry. And, Coach, you got the nice shoulder pat there. That has to feel reassuring.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's needed,
Right. Now, Kellen, I want to ask, how did you end up here at Spring Hill? You mentioned it was kind of a perfect storm of things.
Well, it's a very long story.
You can give us the spark notes. It's fine.
Okay, well, it was like senior year that was the most stressful time.
Mm-hmm.
Just usually you're like, okay, gotta decide academically for school and then also athletically, where it was a decision between soccer and basketball, and I wanted to continue playing basketball. So it was a bit bittersweet, but um, like I said, it was the perfect storm with Coach. I knew him from going to South camps when I was younger, and so he called me and he was like, "You want to come over and see how things are?" And I was like, "Yes," and it just went from there.
So when you got over here, then what stood out to you? What made you want to come to Spring Hill?
It was him, really, because I had already toured here before,
Yeah.
but I like the coach that did. She's now at Mobile. She's a great coach, Sydney, and but I just felt like me and Coach Dan had a better,
A better chemistry.
yeah. Um, Sometimes you could tell
Yeah.
on the court, sometimes not. But yeah, it was just perfect. It was a perfect storm, like I said.
Now, you've seen a lot of success since you've been here. You're one of the top scorers in the league this year. You were SIAC Freshman of the Year last year. What's been working for your game since you arrived?
A lot of gym time.
A lot of gym time. That'll do it. Yeah.
Also, just a different mindset. You don't really realize how much you grow from your previous years until like just all the things you've gone through, like
Mm-hmm.
from senior year in high school to freshman year last year and to now. I do feel like I have improved, not just on the court, just as a person. I have little minor setbacks, but I'm still learning and progressing, and I just want to continue to do that.
What would you say has been the biggest area of growth for you since you became a college student?
Hmm. I'm still working on time management and not procrastinating.
Don't worry, I am too. That will not
Yeah,
stop
I was
as you
about
become
to
an
say,
adult.
yeah, that carries.
But probably temper, maybe. I'm still working on that, but learning what not to say at certain times, and because recently it's been challenging, but I'm learning that you can only control what you can control. You can't worry about other people, and I think I've somewhat improved in that.
Well, and I mean, it's got to be a little bit, talk about that transition from year one to year two. You've had some injury troubles you didn't have last year, this year. That's a huge thing to adapt to because, nobody gives anybody enough credit for, okay, everything's great. I'm smiling. I'm the person on top of the world. When things are tough and then when you're hurting too, it can add so much frustration to what you're doing.
Yeah, it's that was that was probably the most difficult time I've had in college, being injured, because I've never been injured before. I've had like a few like nicks and knacks, but this was the most serious it's ever been, and not being able to play, it was very difficult. But it also gave me another perspective, being on the bench and seeing what my teammates don't see, and also being one of their biggest supporters, learning how to be a cheerleader. So yeah, it was an experience. It was definitely a great learning experience.
Now, I want to ask because I feel like we don't get this question enough. Yeah, it's difficult and it's different when you have to sit. did you see an improvement in your IQ as a player when you got to sit and see the way different defenses are doing things, stuff you may miss when you're out on the court constantly?
I think definitely. I For one, it taught me how to be patient because as I was watching, I was, imagining myself in this situation like, oh, maybe I should do this instead of this
Right.
and not always play at a fast pace and slow the game down and see the play develop.
It's easier when you get to sit there and
Yeah.
watch that when nobody's sailing at you as
Mhm.
fast as they can run.
Definitely. It's more so, yes, you have to make quick decisions, but you don't, also at the same time, you don't want to be rushed. And that's definitely something that I got to see. Um, and yeah, it was great.
Now, we've seen some different players kind of acclimating into the roles that
Hmm.
you were filling at times, specifically some younger players like Lori Severe, Amy Elliott's been getting in and getting some playing time. Is there any of that that you're seeing now that you're like, okay, here, let me tell you this. This is the mistake I make, and
Hmm.
here's how you can fix it too.
Yes, they're definitely open to, you know, how can I how can I do better and what can I not do?
Right.
And I think that has definitely helped them improve. Like Lori, I see her in the gym. I see Amy just wanting to learn and get as many reps. That's what sometimes in practice I'm like, we're bit because I want reps too, but
Right.
I also know that they need reps as well. So I'm like, okay, you can have it. You got it. I understand. So yeah, it's great.
Now, talked with Coach a little bit about it the past couple of weeks. Things haven't been going the way you guys want. February tournament time, it's all right around the corner. Season's still well in play.
Mhm.
What has been your kind of message as one of the leaders of this team to the players around you of, hey, we've got this, whatever?
Well, I have actually. That's one thing I am trying to work on, being a better leader. I am. I am vocal, but certain times my choice of words isn't always the best in the moment. Um, and so that is. I'm glad you asked. It's really something that I'm. I want to be better at this latter part of the season, and I think we are we're getting there. It's a learning process, and by the time the tournament comes around, we'll have most of everything in place to where it's like, okay, we see the mistakes, we're learning from our mistakes and how to improve on them.
Now, you've got Lane coming up, Miles right after. Those are two games you didn't get to play in last time. What are two things you saw from them that you think you in particular will be able to capitalize on?
They Lane for one, they are very, I wouldn't say overzealous, but they're
It's a good
I mean,
word.
that's a
let's
10
say
point
It's a very
Scrabble
good
yeah.
word.
word. So,
Yeah.
Very scrappy.
okay.
So they overreact to anything you do. So, like I said, being patient is going to be very important for that game. And for Miles, they have experience, mm, full of seniors, so it's a been there, done that deal for them. And so I think slowing the game down is going to be a big game. Well, big deal for both games. So
Okay. Awesome. Well, Kellen, thanks so much for your time.
thank
Appreciate
you.
you coming in.
Thank you.
Well, that'll do it here for us. And Kellen will be back in just a moment talking about what's upcoming with Coach. You're watching the Dan Presel Show here on the SHC Athletics YouTube channel.
This is the way down a path that leads to a place upon the hill, led by thought leaders, activists, and Jesuit princes. Among the hill is where tradition and a strong desire to do and achieve reside. Ingrained in rich tradition, filled with purpose, fueled by passion. Springhill College is for those who seek more.
And welcome back to the Dan Presel Show here on the SHC Athletics YouTube channel. Thanks for Kellen Hunter hopping on with us today. And Coach, time to look ahead. You've got Lane coming to the gym on Saturday, 2 p.m. Miles after that. Kind of getting to the finish up the home slate part of the year.
Absolutely. Senior Day on Saturday. We've got 5 great seniors to celebrate. Just played Lane and Miles. So both games fresh, both preparations. So for Lane, it's going to come down to us being able to handle their full court press and limit their second, their points off turnovers and second chance points.
Now, how hard is that to do? You talk about limiting, it, especially the points off of turnovers. Cough the ball up, you're out of flow defensively. How do you get back?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I've said all year, your offense a lot of times is your best defense in terms of, what you're going to have to defend. Sometimes you turn it over and it's live ball turnover. There's no defending that,
Right.
a lot of times. So, again, it's I got to provide a few more solutions for our kids, and then ultimately our kids got to go out and be aggressive and go make it happen.
Now, I want to ask because this is my biggest basketball pet peeve. You see a turnover in the backcourt, whatever. Girl goes and just commits an unnecessary foul trying to
Right.
stop that basket. What is the message when they come back over to you? And how do you keep from banging the clipboard off of your head when it
Well,
happens?
yeah, well, that's not going to help. Banging a clipboard, that is.
Yeah.
It's human nature, Charlie. And so you're constantly fighting human nature. Um, Most of the time, I'd say 99% of the time, kids do that. They know they shouldn't be doing that, but
Right.
mad takes over, and and that's what you get.
You want to make sure that mistake doesn't pop up any more than it has to on the score sheet.
Right.
But
Yeah. Well, you never want to follow up a mistake with another one.
right.
So that's always a message to our kids. Don't let's not make that second mistake.
So you mentioned, Lane's a team they're going to play with a lot of press. They're going to cause some disruption defensively.
Right.
How important is it going to be to get quickly into that offensive flow?
Well, it's really about handling the press, and then there are times against the press, and you got to go score against it. And then there's times against the press where we need to back it out and be able to get into some kind of action. So that's always crucial, and that's been a battle for us this year a lot. We haven't scored enough against the press to get teams out of it. And at times we get sped up, and it becomes hard to get into our half court stuff.
Now, when that happens, when you get sped up, how do you then settle down the team?
I mean, listen, we only got 4 timeouts,
Yeah.
so it's hard. It's hard to simulate it in practice. We've done things where we've put 6 people against 5 to try to speed us up, and it sometimes. It looks a lot better in practice than on game day. But it's also part of just the learning process and the growth process every team goes throughout the year. So, I'd like to think we're still growing in February.
There you go. And I mean, there's plenty of ball left to play. Nobody wants to be playing their best ball week 1, and then it's only downhill from there. Taking a look back that last time out against Tuskegee, you guys really battled. It seemed like the offensive flow was better. Tuskegee just started off so hot shooting wise.
I mean, we couldn't stop them in the first quarter. We made some adjustments and were able to really slow them down for the next 3 and kind of claw our way back in, and just ran out of not able to make enough plays at the end. Needed a couple more plays, and I gotta help us make those plays better.
Now, you started off the year hot. We've cooled off here late December, early January. What's the message getting back to your brand of basketball February into the tournament?
Well, I mean, again, you this time of year, like I've said a few times, is you're either getting better or you're not. You're
Right.
getting worse. You're not really staying the same. So the message is to try to continually grow. We did not beat Tuskegee, but I think had a lot to build from and played a lot more like the identity that we've created for ourselves for a lot of the year. So hopefully, fully healthy now, or as healthy as we've been in a long time. A chance to finish out these 2 home games and really try to create some real momentum heading into the tournament.
How much does that, we've gotten the experience in when we're down a few bodies, and you've kind of been able to build on that and grow some players who may not have gotten the playing time. How much more comfortable does that make you now?
I don't know if it makes me any more comfortable, to be honest, Charlie. I mean, you kind of have to do what you kind of have to do. We lost a couple significant players for a stretch there, and
Yeah.
and it's there's a reason they're starters. It's hard to replace that production. I mean, for me, I love seeing all of our kids get out and get an opportunity. So in terms of that, it was good, but like I said, we need to build some momentum this weekend and really head into the tournament.
Now, I want to ask, particularly Lori Severes has really seemed to come on for the past few games. How much has getting those extra minutes in been a help to her? And are you starting to see what she can do now that she's a little bit more comfortable?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's, talent's not been the question. Obviously, being a freshman at the college level is very difficult.
Yeah.
Just the speed of the game. Everybody's so much better night in and night out. Practices are more challenging. So I think for any freshman, that acclimation is the hardest. But also she battled some health issues early on, so
Yeah.
was unable to really get that rhythm and those reps needed.
Now, Coach, you're getting some of the scoring you were missing back this time around against Lane. How much does that kind of change the way you're approaching this game coming in?
I don't. I think it makes me feel better, but I don't know if it changes our approach any. Again, we know what we got to do to be successful against Lane and a Miles. That's the easy part. We got to go make sure we have a good week of practice so it shows up.
Now, Coach, final thing I wanted to ask about. We talked about this with Coach Kennedy a little bit. He mentioned it seems like the recruiting cycle is sooner and sooner every year. Is it in the women's world starting to get to where, okay, now we're recruiting in February while we're trying to put together what's going on the court right now?
Oh, I don't think. Listen, recruiting is a 365 everyday thing. So I don't know if it's sped up anymore. I know with the advent of the portal and more of the kids are able to move around, things are more liquid.
Yeah.
But man, recruiting, I always heard a thing. This is gonna kind of make us look bad, Charlie. Like the recruiting is a little bit like shaving. If you miss a couple days, you start to look like a bum.
Yeah.
If you don't do it every day. So like that's an old.
What are you trying to tell me, Coach?
I
Do
mean,
I need to go
I'm right
clean it
there
up when
with
I
you,
get
man.
done?
So no, it's a nonstop process. And recruiting is relationships, whether it's with the student athletes or with people helping these kids, try to find the right fit for them.
Now, talking about it, there's 2 home games left, and then it's going to be, I think, 4 to finish out the year, and then headed into that SIAC tournament.
Right.
Do you feel like there's a benefit to being on the road to close out the year, headed in, and you're just acclimated to being on the road at that point?
I don't know if there's any benefit other than you don't really have to ever unpack, but at this point of the year, man, whoever. It doesn't matter home or road. Whoever plays best, whoever's ready to play, is going to have the advantage and probably going to win in our league.
It's going to be about the 5 on the floor, that is for sure. Now, Coach, 2 p.m. this Saturday, 5:30 on Monday. If people wanted to get there for the Senior Day festivities, what's kind of the timeline on that?
So we're going to, after our game against Lane, we'll immediately have the ceremony on the floor. Men, women, cheer, and men's basketball.
That's awesome.
So come check us out, or if you're planning on coming to the men's game only, come at halftime of our game, and then get to see our seniors get recognized and all the seniors get recognized.
Coach, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Charlie.
That'll do it here for us on the Dan Presel Show. Of course, we will be back next Wednesday with the team on the road, so make sure you stay tuned in for that. You've been watching the Dan Presel Show here on the SHC Athletics YouTube channel.